Yeah, check one, check two, check two. Making sure y'all can hear me as we go live in the building, back on the map. Your boy is back in the building. They say back on the map. ETE Imhotep Seni Senet Anquastijad Uncle Josh Seneb Dua Henu. What up, brother Jason? Seni Imhotep. My son is getting busy with the lessons right now. Him, Uhuru, Malcolm, several. Today we are going to do a thorough debunking of a lot of information that is pseudo. And I mean pseudo. Because we got brothers like Garfield attacking Kemet every 2 seconds. No, you're not African. No, you're not. You have nothing to do with East Africa. My brother Rob Bourne just the other day. You're the natural. No, you ain't in the sorrow on the boat. So this show here, I'm gonna start to do on a regular basis. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take a look at claims. Rob Bourne is my brother, by the way, you know. But you got to get that work today. All right. We're going to take a look at claims made in this community that simply are not true. And we are going to thoroughly debunk several of them because it's necessary. It's necessary because it creates narratives when people tell you this is true, that's true, and they have no proof. They have no proof. They have false narratives. And of course, I'm the host. It's your brother Saram Ka, BTE, Imhotep, Seni Senet, Anquas the Jet, Uncle Josh Seneb, all the good stuff, of course. But you don't need to see me right now. We need to look at some information. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to present and share my screen. And we're going to start to get busy debunking one of the main topics in the conscious community as of late. Let me give it some body. The first one. I happened to be watching a debate yesterday between Jabari and his sister Naphtali. The sister's information is really what makes me do this. Secondly, a lot of stuff that happens in the chat. This is before that chat. We're going to debunk a few things here, and then we're going to get into the meat and gumbo things. Shout out to our brother, Mr. Metro. I just talked to him in another chat. He said Elijah was the first leader. I said, no, he wasn't. Show how the NOI is Arabian. And so anybody who knows about the Nation of Islam that comes from our era knows that the Nation of Islam is Islamic. So today, Sarnetta showed how they're Arabian associated. He's actually going over the Circle Seven Quran and the Moors, or brothers the Moors. Um, but in case you didn't know, let me just pull up a couple things real quick here. We'll start with before we get into the main topic. Um, who started? Hold on, let me share so you guys can should be able to see the things that we do, so you can do them on your own. It makes you a better makes you your understanding better when you can see some of the things that we know and some of the things that we look up. This is very simple. Who started, right, the nation of Islam? There he is. There he is. Wallace Fard Muhammad. So I had to tell our brother it was Fard later in that chat, right? So we're in there. He doesn't know. I'm just letting him know, right? Elijah was the first leader. No, 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 no. Basics. Wallace Fard Muhammad was the starter of the Nation of Islam. Elijah Muhammad was one of his students. You see him right there. Elijah Poole, Elijah Muhammad. Then you start to get into your others, your Malcolm X's, etc., etc. That's number one. But there was more in this little field. Turned on my. Let me cut that off. Let's go back over here. Our brother Ricardo Robinson. He said the people in West Africa didn't know anything about Kemet. I am Jamaican in Jamaica. We practice West African culture and Christianity. Nothing Kemetic. So he's done two things. He's convoluted two things. He said the people in West Africa knew nothing about Kemet, number one. Then he put himself in Jamaica. Last time I checked, Jamaica is somewhere in the islands. West Africa is somewhere on the continent. Brother Ricardo Robinson, you suffer from, yeah, you suffer, my brother. I don't know why he came up with that, but it also falls in line with a few other things. Khalid never denounced the teachings of Elijah Cap. He's talking about Shaka Amos' presentation. Now, this is my brother, Each One Teach One. This is my brother, Rob Bourne. And this is where the meat and gumbo of this discussion is going to be taking place. Ricardo, we're not going to address today. That was we'll actually address him while we talk about this, but that was just a silly comment. He says, Asar, I don't care about your religious conversations about Christmas or the Egyptian culture getting off them slave boats. So this is what we need to talk about. Where the Egyptian culture getting off them slave boats. That's your claim, Brother Ra. No Kemet culture got off no slave boat. Not one revolt, nobody calling on Asar. Stop the Egyptomaniac stuff. This is Rob Bourne. We about to go there in a second. We about to we about to go there. I'm talking about the slave trade. Show me anyone in black press writing in 1700s talking about they commissions and have that culture. Bruh, he was a Muslim and he taught no Egyptian religion. His book is about a play. So when he makes this last statement here, he's talking about Deuce Ali Muhammad. Because I mentioned Deuce Ali Muhammad being the teacher of Marcus Garvey. And we're going to get into all of that, which is also going to clear up this statement here. I'm in Jamaica. We practice West African culture and Christianity, nothing Kemetic. He didn't even know who Marcus Garvey was. Ricardo Robinson did. So let's get into debunking you today. First and foremost, many of you have probably seen this map. Slave trade routes from Africa to the Americas. Notice where it points at. The very tip of the Congo is right here. Angola, Sierra Leone, Senegal, some to Europe, West Indies, Brazil. These are the Americas. South America, Central America, North America, West Indies, Jamaica area, what have you. Most people see this map. They don't talk about this map. Which shows what? Those same areas going to South America, going to the Americas. It also goes up here to Europe the same way, but they forget about this route here, which is upward here in India and ends up going from India back over this way. They also don't talk about this one here, which through here, you see Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco. They travel through here. They also travel down here. They also travel through the continent and they travel around here. We're going to talk about those today. We're going to get into some of that. And to make it even more clear, there goes Zanzibar right there. This up here, Morocco and all the stuff up here. Egypt, which we just showed. Coming to Europe, also going this way. Also going from here to here and going this way. Also coming from over here, going this way. But they never mentioned that. He said we wouldn't find an Asar on a boat. We're going to get into all of that today. Here goes some more. Let me hide this for a second. There's more. So you can really start to see that these trades, slaves, Arabia, look, they're going up to Arabia, Casa, they're coming over here, they over here. You can really start to see and start to make lines and understand how inner Africa starts to really take advantage of Africans who are from not just the west coast of Africa, not just the south of Africa, which is not spoken on much, but also East Africa. And the cross lines from France to Morocco, over here, and over here, from Egypt, over here. Moors, in fact, since we're talking about Moors today. So let's take a look. Let's start to take a look at some articles. Let's start to get into some information. So we can really break some of this stuff down. Let me take a look at the chat. All right, we good. Let's start to break this information down a bit. Let me go. Where did I pull it up? Here it is. The story of East Africa's role in the transatlantic slave trade. We need to talk about this, huh? The recent discovery of the remains of the Portuguese slave ship Sao Jose off Cape Town has brought East Africa's role in the transatlantic slave trade to public attention. So if you don't know, because everybody's always saying, where's the slave ships? Where's the slave ship? They found portions of the Sao Jose, which is a slave ship, off the east coast of Cape Town. It's East Africa, Southern Africa. This depiction up here, pardon me. This depiction here, a sailor walking among African captives in a hold of a slave ship from the book from the book Revelations of a Slave Smuggler, published in 1860. It's an old picture. East Africa. East Africa. We're about to uncover some things today. So the Sao Jose was merely one of a large number of slave vessels that either rounded the Cape or put into Table Bay for refreshment. And then, of course, it got sank in days after Christmas, 1794. Bad year for slave trade, a lot of slave revolts. French ship Jardiniere had gone down off Cape Agulhas. Around 185 slaves had reached shore, but many had escaped, died, exertions. Only 125 were finally auctioned in Stellenbosch. So that's a story about a particular ship when they had some issues. But let's keep going. In France, the Republicans had outlawed slavery, and the slave trade in Britain, of course, was rising in many parts of the country in opposition to a trade that wrenched 80,000 people every year from their homes in Africa and brought them to the Americas. So we're talking about the East African slave trade as well as the West African, but the East African also contributed to the American slave trade. So when you hear these people trying to separate East and West Africa, and you wasn't this and you wasn't that, most of them, they're pseudo. They don't know what they're talking about. The driving force behind a lot of this was sugar and making money off of the sugar, which the slaves would either farm, manifest, or clear area out for the sugar to grow, etc., etc. Let's keep going. After a decade of peace, Britain and France were once again at war. Ships laden with slaves were a prime target for both warships and privateers. All this made a bad situation only worse, as the major market for East African slaves was in a state of high rebellion. Slaves had taken over large parts of Domingo, an island off of the West Indies. Okay, so already you can see that they lie a lot. Already, so this is what I want you to do. Anybody claiming that you're only from West Africa, which is stupid, because you see, if you ever watch the movie The Gods Must Be Crazy, you see Portuguese battling Khoisan people. You see Portuguese battling Ethiopian people. You got East Africa at war. And they're making jest of it in the movie, of course, but let's read the statement again. Maybe it didn't hit home. Let's do it one more time. All this made a bad situation only worse, as the major market for East African slaves was in a state of high rebellion. Slaves had taken over large parts of St. Domingo, an island in the West Indies. And that decade later would become the independent Republic of Haiti. Who doesn't know Haiti? Who doesn't know Haitians also have East African blood? Who doesn't know this? Only pseudos who would teach you only slavery happened in West Africa. Only slavery happened in West Africa. The Atlantic slave trade only happened in West Africa is a pseudo statement. Stop it. You're lying. We're debunking you. Let's keep going. We got plenty to go. We got a lot to work on today. We got a lot to do. The plundering and burning of the sugar plantations in France's wealthiest colony had destroyed the established market for East African slaves in the Americas. You didn't hear what I just said. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it. Let's not run from. I'm tired of these dudes, man. They come on. They fit. They're a mess. They're a mess. I'm tired of each. I'm tired of your pseudo. That's what I'm tired of. Oh, the Egyptian, you Egyptomaniac. No, goofy. You don't know history. You don't know history. And so now we got to put you on the Summer Jam stage in big letters. In big letters. It says the plundering and burning of the sugar plantations in France's wealthiest colony had destroyed the established market for East African slaves in the Americas. The Americas. So not India, not the Arab world, not Europe, where East African slave market usually went. It destroyed it in the Americas, where you live today. The East African. The Sao Jose was thus a pioneer hoping to find a new market for East African slaves in Brazil. This was no easy matter as traders in Angola and the Congo monopolized the sale of slaves to Portuguese America. Now, I tried to tell my brother this in the chat the other day. He ignored it. He kept repeating himself. Where are your proof? Where are your proof? I'm talking about the slave trades. Show me anyone in black press writing in 1700s talking about their commissions and have that culture. Bruh, he was a Muslim. We're going to get to do Ali in a minute too. Asar, I don't care. No Kemet culture got off no slave boat. Not one revolt. Nobody calling on Asar. Stop the Egyptomaniac stuff. This is my brother Rob Bourne. And Garfield put the battery in his back. And we got young Ricardo, and you know he young because he know who Marcus Garvey was. He said the people in West Africa didn't know anything about Kemet. I am Jamaican. In Jamaica, we practice West African culture and Christianity, nothing Kemetic. Good thing he doesn't represent Haiti or Saint Domingo, which is right next to him. West Indian, you know, I may want to bring trouble to you, but I'm about to, because, brother, I don't even know if you're really West Indian. I don't even know if you know your culture. Let's keep going. This was no easy matter as traders in Angola and the Congo monopolized the sale of slaves to Portuguese America. East Africa was late participant in the transatlantic slave trade. It was only in the 1770s what our brother Rob Bourne asked me for. What he asked me for? There you go. I'm talking about the slave trade. Show me anyone in black in 1700s talking about their commissions and have that culture. We got East Africa live on display right now. What are you talking about? Stop being pseudo. That whole area. I'm going to leave Danny alone because Danny ain't say nothing. Danny ain't had nothing to do with this. This is my brother Rob Bourne talking crazy. And my brother Garfield talking extremely crazy. Talking way crazy. He talking like he's slow. Like he forget who does this work. Now I gotta remind you, he was just on the show. No smash because I'm sorry you copy smash, boy. I ain't copy smash. Smash my brother. Me and Smash get on the show and we break stuff down. You didn't even see that Coptic form on Smash's show until I brought it over, debunking my other younger brother, Asar Imhotep's work, showing the words was fake and Coptic. You didn't know half the stuff. You ascribe to Smash because I do it on his channel. And he does it with me. I do it with him. We crush your pseudo. But we don't copy each other. We don't know what each other's going to say. We hop on and say, "Ooh, I was reading this last week." And then we compliment. And we bounce off of each other. Because we understand what we're reading. Let's get back to what's going on, man. Because Garfield, you the one. You the one that be so, oh, they're West Africa. Oh, West Africa. But you disrespect East Africa with your nonsense and the Black Holocaust because East Africa was part of the American slave trade as well as the Eastern slave trade. So when you come with your pseudo facts, shh. And if you guys listen to that belligerent garbage, continue to do so. Everybody knows who's been on this channel. If you take the information from this channel, you haven't had any problems, have you? You keep ending up on the right side of history, don't you? Every time. Pardon me. A little cold. Got a little sickness. Let's keep going. East Africa was a late participant in the transatlantic slave in the what? The transatlantic slave trade. Let's just pull that up so everybody understands what that is. Yeah, we know you use cookies. For more than 2,000 years, people in many different parts of the world have forced their fellow humans into slavery. Europeans forcibly uprooted millions of people from throughout the West Central Africa, and shipped them across the Atlantic in conditions of great cruelty to refer the Africans who were enslaved, blah, 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 blah. They were husbands and wives, fathers and mothers, sons and daughters. They could be Yoruba, Igbo, Akana, Congolese. Now notice how they ignore East Africa here. It's your job to remember East Africa. East Africa doesn't want their hands sullied with this. But it's your job to remind them of what they did. Are we clear? I see they got Middle Passage Voyage. Middle Passage Voyage. And you can see right here, they don't even cover this lower half or South Africa, where Chris Columbus used to frequent. So it's up to you to not forget these things and to bring these points up when they're forgotten so easily. So easily. Let me pull my spot back up because we ain't done. They just pulled down. All right, let's get back to our spot. This is just one of the articles so far. We got work to do, I told you. Transatlantic slave trade. East Africa was a late participant in it. Anyone lying, we step to them, we check them. We let them know you're lying. You're pseudo. Are you from West Africa? You don't know where I'm from. You just include all of Africa. All of Africa was wronged. That's what you do. That's what you do. Close your mouth and include it all. This ain't Crips and Bloods. Let's keep going. It was only in the 1770s that a regular trade in slaves to the French island of Mauritius and Reunion began from points on the East African coast. Small numbers of slaves had been carried around the Cape for more than a century, but as planters on St. Domingue cried out for labor, this trade became more profitable and systematic, particularly as the French king agreed to subsidize the shipment of slaves to the island. West Central Africa bore the brunt of this demand, but as the price of slaves rose, traders looked further afield for their human merchandise. So when you can only hit West Africa so many times, prices will raise, etc., etc. Black people are a commodity at that time. So although it took around 120 days to get from Mozambique to Saint Dominique, and almost 30% of slaves died on the long Middle Passage. Notice we just talked about the Middle Passage from that other location. All they had to do was say East Africa was involved, because that's what the Middle Passage is all about. It quickly became a profitable route. A triangular trade developed as ships sailed from French ports such as Bordeaux and Nantes to buy slaves in where? East Africa. The slaves were then taken to Saint Dominique and exchanged from the tropical produce like sugar, coffee, and indigo. The size of these vessels grew in the 1780s, and some had the capacity to carry up to 1,000 slaves. Rebellions. Didn't he say no rebellions? Ain't that what he said? Ra, it's your whole argument. I'm talking about, show me 17 talking about Khmesis and how they culture. No Kemet culture got on no slave boat. Not one revolt. Nobody calling on the Tsar. Stop the Egyptomaniac stuff. This stuff is pseudo. This is pseudo. Sue to the dough. Anytime you hear anybody saying stuff like that, they do two things. One, my boy Ra is intelligent. He's looking for views. And he's looking to make his point. So he thinks shouting the loudest to do it. It's not that he's intelligent. If he stop and uses intelligence like he does in most cases, he'll be like a fine wine. When he does this pseudo stuff, trying to get you to turn your head and saying the same thing over and over, it's no good. It's no good. And as you can see, it's falling down. It's falling down historically. And I'm only on one article. I ain't even get into no hard evidence yet. Back to the rebellions. That's what he was asking for, right? Rebellions were frequent, and slave ships carried large crews and the firepower needed to suppress any resistance. The East Africa slave trade reached its peak in 1789 through 90, when about 46 ships carrying more than 16,000 slaves circumnavigated the Cape. Almost all were bound for the sugar and coffee plantations of northern Saint Domingue. Many French slavers stopped at the Cape during this time, as the colony run by the Dutch East India Company provided them with a break in the long Middle Passage. Remember the Middle Passage, when they make this silly mistake, presumptuous, only slaves came from West Africa. Ships' captains often sold part of their human cargo at the Cape to rid them of slaves least able to survive the Atlantic crossing. It also made space for new stocks of fresh food and water. Mozambique. We ain't even getting to Mozambique. Let me get off of this. Let me get off of that for 2 seconds. Let's come back down here. So we know these routes are viable. We know what happened on these routes. And we know where the people are going. See, it says slaves. Slaves. We know. We know. We already know. Do I need to get into this to further the information? This is when we start talking about the Moors. Huh? This is when we start talking about the Moors and how Moors are brought over from East Africa over to the Americas, mostly through Portuguese raids. Huh? Huh? I'm gonna save that in case y'all say something. We'll save that one just in case somebody's talking crazy. I'm gonna save a lot of this ammo just in case. And this is the little stuff. Portuguese in East Africa. Here go the boats. Here goes some of the boats right over here. The Portuguese destroyed the shipping at Mogadishu in 1541, led by Francisco Barrero. They invaded the Zambezi lowlands and blah blah blah. Stop, man. Stop. Because it'll only get worse. In fact, let me show you how far back in time this goes. What's up, Smash? What's up? I'm gonna open the chat up here in a second. We're gonna invite in a second so you can hop on. Right now, we slowly breaking these youngins down. We're gonna open the chat up. We're gonna open it up. And let that get in there real quick. All right, in case one of y'all pop in, I should be able to see y'all. So, as soon as you hear this nonsense, this gibberish, because that's what it is. That's what it is. It's nonsense and jump. Ocean slave, Indian Ocean. We didn't get there. We didn't go here. We didn't go here. We are going to go here. Karasu. Karasu. That's sugar. That's what it was all about. I'm not even gonna go there today. I just I want a small piece portion. Where we at? Where's my piece at? Is this it? I think it's here. Atlantic slave trade. Is this the one? I don't. Let me see. Negroes. Well, this gets into your Muslim Ottomans, Middle East, and when the Moors get brought over. I'm saving this Moorish business for those who in case you say something just because I didn't go in depth about East Africa. But let's do this. Let's do this so we can end these boys out, right? He said there wasn't no SARS on the plantation. Huh? That's what he told us. That's what he told us. He said there were no SARS in the building. That's what you said. Garfield, you've echoed this same sentiment. There are no SARS in there. So let's go on the boat. And I'm going to tell you right now, God damn it, I better not find one SAR on this boat. I better not find one SAR on this boat. Right? Because this is what you said. No Kemet culture got off no slave boat. Not one revolt. Nobody calling on the SAR. Stop this Egyptomaniac stuff. This is you. Disrespecting the sides of Africa. So when I click this button, I bet not find one Asar. Right? Who want to put money up? We find an Asar. Who want to put some money up? We find an Asar on one of these boats. Put your money up. We about to find out right now. We about to find out right now. Let me see. Okay, there goes revolts. Vessel name, place where vessels is at. Let me see. Voyage ID, vessel name. Hold up. Let me remember real quick how to do the name search on here. Captives and percentage duration, percentage male. Where's my names at? Hold up. I'll be forgetting stuff. Captain and crew, I think it might be captain's name, crew, enslaved people. There it go, right here, right? So what we about to do, we're gonna look, and it'll tell you right next to it. It's gonna tell us all the goodies. Negroes, so you know. What else do we want to see? Apply. Let me see. Hold on. I gotta remember. Vessel name, voyage name, place where captives, principal place, linked voyages, captains names. There's a way on here you can find the names. When I do this, when I do it to you, man. Let me see. It's me. All right. When I go in here and I do it, I don't want to hear nothing, man. I don't want to hear nothing. Okay, there go the name right there. Slave voyages, right? I bet not find an Asar. I bet not find no Asar. Let me go summary statistics. Okay, let's go back to results. We go to some individuals have this, that. Let me click name. Hold on, let me back out real quick. That could be my issue. I'm a little too close. Let's scoot up. African name. Here we go. I bet not find no Asar on this boat. They're going Asar right there. Fula, Upper Guinea. But that one starts with a U, so I ain't even gonna count it. Let's go the other way. I bet not find no Asar on this. I'm telling you right now, I bet not find no Asar when I do this. And I'm about to look it up. Hold up. Adam, we're gonna go the long way. We're gonna go like this. Aga. Arsar. Uh-oh. I better not find no Asar. That's a Jai. Robborn. I better not find no Asar, Robborn. Arsa. Uh-oh. I better not. Asar. Asar. Asan. Asar. I'm still gonna give you a pass. I said I better not find no Asar. We already found a couple of SARs. I better not find no Asar, Robborn. I bet. I want the 1,000. The girl ain't Asars all over the place. Asar. Huh? We're gonna keep going though. We're gonna keep going. I want to make sure. I don't want. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I don't want the ASAR spelling. Asar. A. You're done, man. You're done. Ra, you're done. You're done. We finding the SARS all over the boat. I said we finding the SARS all over the boat. Blah. Here, let's go here. Let me just click it again. Let's do that. Apply. Let's see what pops up. We got some Adars. We already found some SARS on the boat. Our SARS. We got a SARS on the boat now. Rob, we got a SARS on the boat. Huh? They right there. You got a SARS on the boat. We found a few of them. We found it spelled with the O, like the Greeks would say it. And we found it spelled with the ASSAR. Stop with your pseudo talk, man. Stop with your pseudo talk. I say, let me see what else we got on here. Let's see what else is on this boat. Oh man, there they go. Asar. Huh? Robborn. Garfield. Shh. Shh. Look, it's more Asars. I just clicked over to the other button. It's more. Shh. You want me to do you like Asar Imhotep? See, the W in Chikongo is really an S. So really that's Asar too. That's also no, I'm messing with y'all. But listen. Shh. Oh wow. ASAR. All down. Look at this. Look at this. There ain't no Asar. There ain't no look, B. There's Asars on the boat. Shh. Be quiet. Be quiet. Because they walked right into Freetown, all four of them. One is Yoruba. She's a female. The other three are male. What are we doing with the SARS on the boat? ASAR. Why are there SARS on the boat? Huh? Huh? Why are there Asars on the boat? Ra? So anybody who is challenged with this nonsense, who doesn't know East Africa involved themselves with the transatlantic slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, the one that brought you here to the Americas, do your homework. Because there's a lot of lies going on. There's a lot of pseudo things going on. And as you lie and I see pseudo, we are doing debunking. So today we are debunking you. What did we debunk? So I don't care about your religious conversations about Christmas where the Egyptian culture getting off them slave boats. Yeah, they were. No Kemet culture got off no slave boat. Not one revolt. Nobody calling on the Tsar. Stop this Egyptomaniac stuff. Nah, they here. I'm talking about the slave trade. Show me anyone in black press right in the 1700s talking about they commissions and have the culture. Rob Bourne. 1770 to 1790, clearly Portuguese doing it. East Africa, all in the mix, all involved. Egypt on down. Ain't no Asars on them boats. Brother, we uncovered about, what was that, about 10, 15 of them? Stop it. Look, this one went to St. Thomas. He went to St. Thomas. This Asar, male, Freetown, went to St. Thomas. Intended disembarkation port. So when I hear a guy from Jamaica tell me the people in West Africa didn't know anything about Kemet. I am Jamaican. In Jamaica, we practice West African culture and Christianity. Nothing Kemetic. You got an Asar, you got descendants of an Asar in your city, brother. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? Now, I could have went into all those other slides. We could have read a lot of information today. But it's not even necessary. It's not even necessary. You're talking about one round knockout business. You keep listening to those pseudos if you like. It's going to get you in more and more and more and more trouble by the day. Now, usually my brother Rob Bourne got some good information. Him and Danny get down. Shout out to my brothers. But when they get on this kick, which Garfield put the battery in his back about, Garfield is usually pseudo 101. Remember, he's the one who is backing, so he brought you Kemet's not black. It doesn't mean black land. Remember, he brought that up. Remember, he brought you Africans they didn't do science. That was not science. Remember, we had to do African spirituality created science. Remember, we covered Heka. Remember, we went into the papyruses of medical doctors from way back when. The Sanu in ancient Kemet to show you where you get your penicillins from, where you get your fumigation from, where you get your... He's always backing something incorrect. And here he is putting his battery in your back, and I ain't even tore the womb open yet. I ain't even tore it open yet. I'm just scratching the scab. I'm getting the inches off the scab. Because there's other information I'm not going to cover right now. Because I already know they're pseudo. You don't. So watch the information you take in, because it can make you goofy and soupy and loopy on information that is terrible, doo-dooey, and poopy. Back to the booby, young herus. Get your information correct. Our set is still feeding you, and the SAR is watching over you, as I always am. Remember who you are. Be an SAR. This is the first episode of Debunking You. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all know what it is. Peace.